Hey everyone! Thank you for joining us for the next session of Fabric Data Days. My name is Anna. I'll be your producer for this session. I'm an event planner for Reactor, joining you from Redmond, Washington. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our moderators to answer. Our session is being recorded. It will be available to view right here on the Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our speaker for today. Shannon, thanks so much for joining.
Hi, thank you so much, Anna, for kicking it off. And thank you so much for everyone who took the time out of their day to join us today for our celebration of greatness. We are here with the Power BI Data Visualization World Champion finalists, and we have a world champion among us on the stream. And we are here today to just celebrate how awesome these people are, to get inspired, and to get to know each other. So let's get the party started. Using an emoji or a single word, let us know in the chat why you're here or why you're excited about the session. As I mentioned, my name is Shannon. I am based in sunny Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I have the great pleasure of being a program manager on the Fabric community team. I'm also a data witch, as you can see on the screen here. I am also so pleased to announce that we have some of the best designers and report designers in the world on the line here to answer your questions. Please meet Valerie, Cecilia, and Jen. They are here in the chat to answer your questions today. I've already seen them live in the chat. You all are super active, so please take advantage of this. If you have questions, we are here to answer them. And just a note, moderators are only here for the live session. So if you're watching this on recording, thanks so much for joining. You can watch the chat replay. All right, so why are we here? Welcome to Fabric Data Days. I want to just talk to you about what this event is and how you can get involved. Fabric Data Days is 50 days of learning. Included in that learning, we have contests and challenges that we'd love for you to participate in. And today's session is so special because we have the winners of our kind of highlight contest here. So for our contest for this week, we have 3 big contests going on, 2 that are data visualization. One is for students, people who are new in the workforce and want to get their hands on Power BI. That is the Power BI Dataviz contest for students, the College Quest in Fabric Land. The second is our contest for everyone, and that is creating a Power BI resume. We're calling that Your Data Story. Injay, who's on the line, he has created a resume. I saw him posted on LinkedIn this morning, so maybe we'll get him to talk about that. We also have a challenge here for notebooks. So for those of you who are venturing into the data science world, if you're learning Python or R, you're welcome to participate in that challenge. And then last but not least, if one of these big contests seems a little bit too scary, too much of a commitment, we have brand new quick viz challenges. And what those are is you jump on, you create a single visualization, you publish and share. So we've got tons of contests, and the biggest prize that we have this time around that we've never had in the past is we have 2 of our Microsoft Most Valuable Professionals who are going to provide one-on-one sessions with the winners of these contests. One of those is on the line today, so you will meet her in just a moment. In addition to our contests, we've got sessions going on every single day, multiple sessions per day in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Please check our schedule, Fabric Data Days /schedule, for more information on what's coming up. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. We are here to talk about the world champs. These are celebrities among us. I learn something from them every single day. And let's learn about what we're going to hear from them. So the first thing we're going to do is introduce our world champs finalists. We're going to talk a little bit about what the contest even is and maybe why you might want to get involved. We are going to explore the winning entries. So we're going to look together at people's entries that got them to where they are today. We're going to talk about their journey to becoming a world champ. And then, of course, I think the part that I'm the most excited about is that we're going to learn top design tips from these absolute experts. So, one more just quick note. I know the chat is going like crazy, so you're already in there. But if you're joining us live, please be sure to ask your questions in the chat. All right, who is sick of hearing me talk? Let's go ahead and get this started. We are going to meet the world champs. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm so glad that you're here. So let's see who is everyone. Let's get to know you all. We are going to go down the line, and I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. We have Anor, Injay, John, Lakshmi, and Yas. If you guys could please, we'll just go alphabetic order. Introduce yourself. Where are you located? Tell us a little bit about your Dataviz journey and how much experience you have. And then if you have a fun fact, we'd love to hear it. So Anor, you want to kick us off?
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Anna. I'm located in Montreal, Canada. And I'm a financial analyst. So my background in dashboarding was mainly at first in Excel. So I'm coming from Excel, basically. And I'm using Power BI for 8 years now. So, and I'm slowly growing my Dataviz skills with the contest. And I did a lot of contests this year, I think 7.
Wow.
So it was a great journey, and I really enjoyed being one of the finalists in Vienna this year. So fun fact about me, maybe I could take one. I said during the final, because it was on the coffee and chocolate, and I don't drink coffee at all. So
Yet you still
never.
have so much energy.
Yeah.
Incredible. Awesome. All right, let's jump down the line. Injay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is NJ, and I was one of the finalists for the FabCon Vegas Power BI World Championships. If you know me, you probably know me from YouTube, or it's like maybe you know me from LinkedIn. I have a channel where I it's like show Power BI data visualization stuff, and I'm actually just a Power BI consultant, but I also teach Power BI on my online courses. And I want to say that the reality is that a lot of people think that I do a lot of really cool stuff, but I've probably been doing Power BI less than a lot of people. I actually looked back, and I think I've been doing Power BI since 2020. So it's actually just around 5 years. So people, like Anor, who's saying that they've been doing it for 8 years. I'm like, yeah, you got 3 years on me,
NJ, I'm going to make a little comparison. You're like the Simone Biles of Dataviz. She started a little bit later and is the GOAT. So there you go. Nice comparison.
But I will tell you, I am drinking coffee. I cannot live without coffee.
Thanks so much, NJ. And if you have learned something from NJ on YouTube, drop some love in the chat. All right, John, go ahead and introduce yourself. I know we've got people that have learned from you too. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm John, and I was the winner of the Las Vegas FabCon Dataviz Championship, and that was so much fun out there in Vegas. I didn't have to go very far. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona right now, and I've been using Power BI similar to Nora for over 8 years. I remember starting in Power Pivot, and then Power BI was announced, and we quickly transitioned to that and now Fabric. So yeah, the data visualization aspect is a bit more recent. I've always had a strong value and appreciation for UI and UX design and UI UX designers and what they do. So yeah, I try and incorporate that into my designs, and that's why I created Power UI, which is it's like one of the most popular theme generators and design systems for Power BI, and I'll probably talk a little bit about that later on.
Yes.
Fun fact is, even before Taylor Swift made it like super popular, I just recently started making sourdough, like my own sourdough bread, and I absolutely love it. It's been a labor of love. I had no idea so much work went into that. So that's about me.
I love that fact. And yes, to what John mentioned, we've got some links that we're going to share with you all later where you can look at every single person's work, at their websites, at the resources they provide for the community. So we'll drop that link in the chat. Thanks so much, John. Next, we have the fabulous Lakshmi. You want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Santana Lakshmi. I am currently a data analyst at Missouri University of Science and Technology. I was born and raised in India, and now I'm based out of Atlanta, which also happens to be where the next FabCon is happening. Also, I've been working with Power BI since 2020, similar to NJ, and honestly, every time I open it, I discover something new. A quick background. So I've always been into creative art since I was a kid. So getting into data visualization made perfect sense. I actually started my career with a very different Power BI tool, very different BI tool. And then Power BI just came into my life by chance. Everyone seemed to be using it. And so I had to give it a try. And I'm also a completely self-taught Power BI learner. And I started learning back in the pre-AI days. So that's when you had to really dig in through all the Power BI forums if you had any answer. And that's how I became a big fan of the Power BI community. And fun fact, I would say just a fact about me is I'm a believer that hard work always pays off. So I participated in the Power BI Dataviz Championship 4 times before I could become a finalist. And I'm not going to stop until I bring back the champion belt home. So yeah, that's pretty much.
I love that. You mentioned something about the pre-AI days, and that is like so wild to think about how recent that was and how it's changed learning. I'd love to see in the chat, for anyone that is using AI to learn Power BI, what sites are you using? You're not going to be able to drop a link in the chat, but just type out what you're using because I'm super curious. Okay, and then last but not least, our design whiz, Yasteru. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. So pleased to meet you, everyone. My name is Yasteru. Everyone call me Yas. I am based in Bordeaux, France. I am one of the finalists in Vienna. It was such an amazing experience. And I've discovered Power BI maybe almost 10 years ago. So I wasn't like into data visualization first. I was more into like technical stuff. But like recently, I have focused my attention on this part, and also because like I'm a gamer as well, and I spend so many hours in front of numbers and interfaces. So I was wondering, how can I spend so much time in front of just numbers? And that's one of my inspiration. I try to make it as to make my design as fun as in video games.
And I think that's something you've accomplished. So one thing that is so fun for me to get to know you all is when I hear your stories and how you introduce yourselves, it's actually quite clear who has created what based on how you've introduced yourself. And you each have your own unique style. So actually, here's a random question. How many of you watch the Great British Bake Off? Does anybody watch that show, Great British Baking Show? John, you must.
Yeah.
And you know how when the bakers are like doing their bakes and they're getting into further into the episodes, you can tell who has baked what?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about your Dataviz designs. They're all very distinct. They're all excellent.
Yeah, our
All right.
showstoppers are out there. So
Yes.
we put on the competition.
Yeah, and it looks like I'm watching the chat as we're talking. The interaction is absolutely wild. People learning from AI is super inspirational to me. I feel like I'm of like an older generation a little bit, where I haven't done as much of that. So it's really nice to see all these tips in the chat. Okay, so with that, we're going to talk a little bit about what this contest even is. And then we're going to jump into you looking at everyone's work, because that's why we're here, right? So I'm going to introduce the contest, and I also would just love to have any of you jump in if there's something I miss. So what is this thing? What have we created here? The Power BI Data Visualization World Championships is the world's longest name for the world's shortest actual competition. We host a competition 2 times a year that consists of some qualifying rounds and then a final round live on stage, where the people you see here today build a fully functional and accurate report in 20 minutes. It is absolutely bonkers, super duper fun, goes very fast, high stress. I'm so lucky that I get to watch and am not having to participate. And it is judged by an expert panel on actually 5 different categories. If you are planning to participate in any of our other Dataviz contests that we have going on here for Fabric Data Days, these are the same categories that you will be judged on. So all of our finalists and World Champ here today are very familiar with them. I do want to ask you all, and maybe we'll just do one person who participated in Vienna and one who participated in Vegas. What did I miss about the contest, particularly the qualifying rounds? Maybe let's start with Vegas. What were the qualifying rounds like for that? Don't everybody all talk at once.
Yeah, no, look, when we have like 5 people, you know, everyone's trying to be nice, and I'm going to stop being nice. Okay, just talk, right? So for, you know, it's like everyone who's watching, the actual qualifying rounds was, what was it, 4 different rounds of different themes where people could actually, you know, it's like make their own data sets and make their own reports to actually, you know, it's like submit to the contest. And it was honestly way tougher than I thought it would be, because we only had about a week between each session. So, you know, like what I was going through was I was trying to challenge myself to submit every week, and I didn't even manage because it was just, you know, life gets in the way. But I found myself, you know, it's like waiting at Friday 6 p.m. for, you know, it's like Shannon to drop the thing, and then I'd spend a little bit of time researching and seeing how much I could actually do during the weekend, because during the week I've got work and life and other stuff. So, you know, it's like that was my experience. So how was it for you guys?
I would say very much the same. Like I told you, I participated 4 times. So every time the results were supposed to be announced, I used to sit and wait. And surprisingly, I think the last week I did not expect it. And then Shannon dropped me a message and I was like, is she serious? And then I was really, really happy. But yeah, like what I would say is it wasn't really about the results, but the entire process was really fun.
Awesome.
It was fun.
I'm so glad you felt that way. So between round 1, which was Vegas, and round 2, which was Vienna, we got a little bit wiser thanks to your feedback. In round 1, for the preliminary rounds, we gave people a theme, and they had to source their own data, which adds another level of complexity. For the Vienna qualifying rounds, we actually provided a starter semantic model, and we said, you can take this, you can add to it, you can do what you want with it, but here's a starter model so that you don't have to go looking for open source data. So we did get a little nicer for round 2, and I'm hoping that will just get nicer with every iteration of this. Yas, did you feel like the starter file was helpful for the preliminary round?
Yes, absolutely. I think like one of the mistakes you can do is to you would like to add more and more stuff, and to know where to stop is a good point. So if you have like a starter, you will know that at least you have the essential parts of the report you want to build.
Fabulous. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're going to jump into some more questions for you all. And this really is for everyone watching and hoping that we get some people inspired to join some challenges. So Anor, I am going to start with you. If you could give one tip to our people on the stream for someone entering their very first Dataviz contest, what would it be?
I think it would be just putting your heart and your soul into your work, finding something in the subject or the way you do your visualization, you bring passion in it. Because I think the best report I've done were the one was I the most passionate about, and I put really myself into the report. So it would be these tips.
Excellent. I love that. And I think it's really clear by looking at your work that you put your whole heart and soul into it. Real quick, we have some questions in the chat about how the prelim and final rounds went. So I'm going to just try to clarify. For the preliminary rounds, the way that we did them, and they were a little bit different for each contest, but for the Vegas contest, we gave people 1 week to complete the challenge. And there were 4 weeks of qualifying rounds. Each winner of each week earned a spot in the finals. So that's how those went. For the Vienna championship, we had a compressed timeline, and it was actually over the summer, so it was a little bit different. We ended up just doing 1 preliminary round, and the judges selected the top 4 from that round. And they had also a little bit longer to work on it. So things were different. I believe for Vienna, we had 3 weeks. Is that right, you guys?
No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we're running them different every time. And the reality is we're learning and we're doing better, hopefully, every time we go. So I'm also seeing some questions in the chat, and we've got a slide later on asking about when is the next one happening. Do not worry, it's coming up in January, and we've got a link and a QR code for you to scan. Now, I'm going to jump back to that question there. One tip for someone entering their first Dataviz contest, and I'm going to throw this one to our world champion. John, what would your top tip be?
I would say, well, it's nice to hear that you're providing the semantic model now, because that's what I was going to say was one of the most challenging parts. So with that, since the data is provided, that's huge, and kind of being like really narrow down what the topics are that you want to show. Like I have this notebook here, like full of notes about stuff that for the World Health and Wellness reporting data. I was kind of going through all of the possible dimensions that I could show and trying to piece them together to make a cohesive story from that data, not just creating a visual, adding some fields to it and saying like, okay, here's a dashboard. It's like try and narrow down all of the possibilities into the best ones that you can and make it a cohesive storyline. That's my tip.
That's a really great tip. When I think about like just kind of the amount of work that goes into these and how you approach it and what your process is, there's just so much to take in, and there's a lot of data. So there's so much you could potentially throw on the canvas, and it could become wild, which, a lot of things I build are wild. So here we are. But that's why you're the world champs and not me. But thanks. That is a really, really great tip. Okay, so let's jump into looking at our world champs entries. But before we do, we actually have a question in the chat that I'd love for whoever jumps first, or maybe we'll just do quick each person. How'd you get into this? What are your educational backgrounds? There are people wondering, like, how do we even get our foot in the door? And I'll start this off by saying that the thing I love the most about working in data is that everyone comes from such diverse backgrounds. I myself have a background in global public health. And every time I meet someone, I'm like, oh, you were a professional oboe player. Oh, you have a degree in computer science. So let's just real quick tell us what your kind of educational backgrounds were. And we'll start with Anor. Let's go alphabetic order.
Okay. So I'm a financial analyst. So I have a master degree in financial analysis and planning. So obviously in finance, data is crucial because it's numbers you're working on. So we use a lot of Excel and then now Power BI because it's such a great reporting tool. So it's the way I entered into the data world actually.
Fabulous. John, do I know the alphabet?
Well, yeah. So I love this question. I could talk about this for a while, but I'll try and keep it short. I am also I have a bachelor's degree in finance, and my first job out of college was as a financial analyst, which is kind of just a niche, like one niche of data analysis. So I interviewed somebody for a role, and I hired them, and they were an art history major, and they were working at a nonprofit, and their pathway into getting into data analysis and the Microsoft Power BI Fabric ecosystem was they would make just simple reports completely outside of their scope of work for executives to showcase different metrics and numbers around their grants and funding opportunities. So it's really like I'll keep it short that any way that you can display information or present data that's your segue into the field. And I think it's just such an easy field to get into for that reason.
Awesome. And yeah, it turns out I don't know the alphabet because I think alphabetically NJ would have been next. So I do numbers, not letters. NJ, jump in.
Okay, I'm gonna keep this super short. So I graduated from psychology and economics, it's like joint majors, and I realized I didn't want to become a banker and I didn't want to become a shrink. So I actually went to, it's like work at a, it's like software house. So I was a C++ developer for a bit. And then I had a failed career as a Twitch streamer. This microphone is actually from my time when I tried to stream on Twitch. It's like I was trying to play Overwatch, and I had, after 3 months, of the full, 3 followers, 2 of which were me. So it's like I gave up, and I it's like I actually got into data because I moved to Poland to it's like follow my wife, and I'm a Swedish citizen, and I needed to get a job, and I was applying for jobs from South Korea to Poland, and HR just insta rejects all of the jobs because I didn't have a Polish phone number. And the second job that I actually got accepted to, like the second job interview, was for, ironically, working at a bank. So, it's like I was a data analyst at a bank, even though, it's like I moved away to not work at banks. But, it's like that's how I got started. And then I did Excel, VBA, SQL, and then I got into Power BI.
VBA, ooh, gives me nightmares.
No, VBA was the best. You've no idea. Like I automated an 8-hour job into like 2 scripts. Like it was the best.
Whoa. Okay, so anyone with VBA questions, NJ's your person. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. Okay, Lakshmi, tell us a little bit about your educational background.
Yes, so I graduated to be an electronics and communication engineer. And like NJ, I did not want to go down that path. And like I told you, I always loved creative arts. Storytelling was something that I really liked since I was a kid. And then when I discovered data visualization, data analytics, I thought that it's a perfect way to get a blend of creativity and logic together. And then I was like, when you can turn numbers into visuals with the story, that instantly clicked with me. And so I think that curiosity is somewhere turned into passion and into my profession. So I am a data analyst right now.
Incredible. Everyone's so different. And Yas, how about you?
Yeah, so I had like an associate degree in computer science where I used to develop applications. And then I went for master degree in marketing. And at the end of in my studies, I had an internship in a call center, and that's where I discovered business intelligence. So that's how it started.
Wow. So everyone is so different, and it sounds to me like we're all pretty non-traditional, which is kind of how it seems to go in the world of data. All right, so now that we know who you are, where you come from, let's take a look at some of your work, because I know that people in the chat are like so curious to see what you've done, and more importantly, how you've done it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the reports that you've created, and as we go through them, I'd love for you to just point out maybe a little bit about what you did and why that report is fabulous. And if you're feeling too humble, I'll jump in with talking about how fabulous it is. Okay, so let's explore the winning entries. So what you see here on the screen, these are the entries that these fabulous people in front of us here today built live on stage in 20 minutes. They did have a week of developing the model behind the beautiful canvas, but they built this live in 20 minutes. My mind is blown just looking at this slide. So let's jump in and look at the actual reports. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, just so that we don't always go in alphabetic order. We'll go reverse this time. But so the first report I'm going to show you is Teru's, and this report is, it looks like a fully functioning, beautiful website. It's just gorgeous. The category for this was we were comparing chocolate and coffee consumption globally. So yes, tell us a little bit about this report and what makes it so special.
All right, I will try. First, you have to know that the intended audience was like curious travelers, lifestyle journalists, like everyday people. So that was my primary focus, and that's why I've decided that I would make a vertical design, like a web page. I wanted also to have like very wide interaction, they are simple and very explicit, and they are explained as well. And every time I wanted to have like this little text of introduction where the user can refer to. And my second focus was about the narrative journey. So about the metrics, I converted every metrics into things you will consume every day, like cups of coffee or tablets of chocolate, not kilograms or of coffee. As well, what I found very interesting was the per capita consumption versus the global consumption of the country. That's what you can see a bit below.
Oh, should I scroll down?
Yeah. Yeah. Here. And finally, I wanted to spot the trends, like which products are the more trendy. Is it chocolate or coffee? And for the methodology, I focused the attention between 2010 until today, also like the 20 minutes exercise is so short, so I've worked a lot with HTML and SVGs, and
Fantastic.
that's what actually, thanks to Paulo's previous entry, that I thought, okay, that's very clever. I will try to do the same.
Cool. Okay, so that's a great idea of just how we're all learning from each other. And Paulo, who Yas is referencing, he actually was the winner of this World Championship. He will be participating in the Portuguese session, which is on the 11th. So if you speak Portuguese and you want to learn from Paulo, please join. And thank you so much. I mean, we're seeing in the chat, people are like, wow, you built all of this in 20 minutes. And like, yeah, couldn't agree more. This is a beautiful report. Let's jump now to Lakshmi's, and let's look at, they had a slightly different subject. This one was a global OECD global well-being data set. But Lakshmi, tell us what made your report so special.
Yes. So first, I would like to say that the data set, I had no idea about the data set. So I literally spent like 2 days digging into data. And like John mentioned in the beginning, we were given a couple of parameters that we had no idea about. So getting a story out of it was the most complicated part. But I think like the storytelling skills that I had came into action. So I was successful in that. And for my report, I would say my superpower is using very minimal colors, having lots of white space, and providing context. So these are the three things that I do every time I create a report. And if you see the report, it's very minimal colors. You'll have lots of whites. And that's why I feel like my reports are a little special. And coming to this particular report, I divided into, I think, 3 or 4 pages, wherein I show the first page, the page which Shannon is showing right now, tells us what the problem is. And then, yes, Shannon, can you click that?
Yeah.
The second page tells you what the impact was. And then if you see, I've added like little information icons on the top. So if you hover over those eye icons, you get information about that particular indicator. And then I think that's it. I mean, just 2 pages since I had only 20 minutes. And then one quick thing to note is everything you see here is native visuals. I have not used any HTML, SVG. So everything was built from scratch. But since I had like a week time to prepare for this report, I did have a JSON theme file ready. And then and the thing that made it easy for me was I had a story in mind. So when I had to put the story into visuals, that's how I think I was able to finish this report in 20 minutes.
Fantastic. And yeah, Lakshmi mentioned her superpower is the storytelling piece, and I wholeheartedly agree. One thing that I've seen so far in both reports that I try to do in my daily work, but I'm not very good at, is you all use text very effectively. I know that not everyone is data literate, and I know that I need to use text, but I'm just not very good at it. But you both crushed it in that regard. Let's look at our next report. And this is, who are we looking at? Is this yours, John? This is John. So this is another one of our world champion winning reports. And let me just go into full screen mode. There we go. John, talk to us about why this is so special, and maybe if you have a thought about what helped you win compared to the other finalists.
That's a tough question. I mean, like Lakshmi's and NJ's, like, and our other friends' report was, they're also amazing. This one, I think, I really like how dynamic a lot of the styling is with it. So it's part of the data storytelling, but also part of just the UI of it. So clicking on that domain should open a drop down, which lets you select a different subject matter, and that dynamically changes just the top color and even the text color, the subtext color, and the image to the right, just to give it its own unique feel to show that it is a different subject matter. That's kind of just a styling thing that maybe makes it stand out a bit. And then just the consistency of how, so each one of those visuals, like those 3 columns, are dynamic based on that domain that is selected. So building that in with DAX, or just, you know, making that dynamic was also kind of a standout thing. It does use SVG in those progress bars to dynamically show if something is good or bad, it's increasing or decreasing. And the country flag icons are all of the images that are used in here are hosted online and basically related in the data model to the image URL to the country to dynamically show the country flag next to the country name. I think, kind of like Lakshmi was saying, like I think we all spent maybe more time trying to figure out the data model and what we were going to show than we did spending actual time like designing the report. It took, you know, that was the most challenging aspect of it. But that's why I guess I go back to the planning out what you want to show. Like, look at your data, find out like what is interesting to you about the data. If it's interesting to you, it's probably going to be interesting to others and use that as your guidepost to what you want to display on the report. Like after you have those core ideas and a foundation of what you want to display, then going through the process of putting it on the canvas and doing rapid iterations. That's another thing. I went through probably dozens of different iterations of this report. Like, how should I show these visuals? How should I display all this stuff? Don't just commit to one thing and then just go with it. I would say very rapid iterations is key, really, just like being agile and fast. That'd be not just for world champs, but in your career as well. You should also probably be doing rapid iterations to find the best way of displaying something. So that's a brief overview of this and kind of the philosophy that went behind it.
Yeah, I totally agree with the rapid iterations, almost in everything in life for me.
Yeah.
That really is helpful. But one thing that you pointed out at the very, very beginning was just how you have everything is connected, and the design is very intentional. And I think that's something that you do really well. And it's also, now you've made it your day job, which is just like so cool. So we're going to share some links in a little bit where you all can check out John's theme generator and the work that he does there. All right, let's jump to our next report. And here we have NJ's, and I am consistently in awe of the work that NJ creates. NJ, tell us a little bit about this report.
Okay, so you know what? It's been some time, so I think I can, to finally say what the real, idea behind this was. Basically, we were given like a data set, and we had a week to prepare, right? But I basically wanted to create a tool where you could rank countries that you might want to move to. And, it's like the way that I wanted to do that was, it's like first there were a whole bunch of different, it's like health, it's like KPIs about, different countries, like whether or not, it's like you're feeling safe at night, or, it's like whether the, it's like a country has a lot of money, or, it's like GDP per capita. And you can kind of see all of the different KPIs on the very, it's like left, and they will have, it's like an actual score. And then you'll see how it's doing versus the last year, or, it's like, and how much it's increasing or decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do is with the actual sliders, you can set a weight. You can say, how important is this KPI to you? And if you say like, it's really important to me that the country's, it's like very wealthy, that could be like going up to 200%. And if you say something like, employment rate is not that important to me, you can like reduce that slider. It's like a third one. And, it's like that will change how the countries are ranked. And you can see, it's like, which countries are doing in the top 5 in, it's like the bump chart, which continents are doing the best. It's like just below that, it's like how many countries are improving, or, it's like decreasing in the actual composite index, as well as the fact that in the, it's like table to the right, you can actually see all of the different countries by rank. And if you click on that Delta button at the top, you can see it ranked by how much they improved. So this was kind of like the idea that I had. I was like, what if I just wanted to move to a different country? And, it's like, this was kind of like how I wanted to express that. But yeah, like everyone's been saying, a lot of the work was just figuring out the data. You see like the circular flag icons. I couldn't find one online. So I was using Power Query to download all the, it's like images as base64, and then modifying them into circles in Power Query, which was a really roundabout way for wasting my time. But, it was good fun.
Awesome. Okay, so like there's so many things that you just said that jump out to me, but like number one, earlier I was talking about like how cluttered reports can get if you put a lot of information on them. One thing that I think is like, NJ, you are a master of, is including so much useful information on one canvas, and it is all so interactive. Like I just would never have thought about like half of the things that you did. No, 90% of the things you did. And then one other thing I wanted to point out, this last visual here that NJ was talking about, this is a table. Is that right? It's a table or a matrix?
Yeah, it's just a table, and I just like to give a big shout out to Kurt Bueller, the data goblin. The actual dumbbell charts are, it's like just from his GitHub. It's just, if you haven't checked it out already, you've got to check out his stuff.
Totally agree. Kurt is a genius. And that actually raises a point. We've got one more report we're going to look at, but that raises a point of just like how many community resources are out there. And the hardest part, of course, is like it's the internet. So there's a million resources out there. We have these 5 geniuses among us that can help point us to what are the really good resources. So we'll get to that next. But first, let's take a look at Anor's report. Let me just figure out how to use this computer. Okay. Anor, why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes this report so special? Walk us through it.
Okay, so each time I was working on a report, I was trying to improve an area. And in this one, it's really storytelling I wanted to work on. So I digged into the data like my other teammates to see what story can I bring with this data. So it's like you see that there is like a huge increase in the coffee and chocolate consumption. So it's like you ended up right there. You can also switch from different countries, and the label are sensitive to the selection you made. So it's really impressive, the change. And yes, and then when you go onto the next page, you can see even if you see that Africa, Asia, and other region, they really went into the consumption race. You can clearly see that there is a huge gap, still a huge gap. And then with the production zone I added in the map, you can clearly see there is like a dichotomy between with the production zone where it's located and then the consumption zone. So
this Anor is like Anor has this really unique ability to pull things out of the data that I never would have seen. Like, look at this map, and you've got the production zone right around the equator highlighted so nicely. It's just genius. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
No, it's okay. So on a more positive note, I just focused on the Europe because they are the champion in consumption in coffee. So in the third page, you can see that with this scatter plot chart, that actually the Nordic country, they are really leading in consumption, but also in the life satisfaction. I use the life satisfaction we had in the qualifying round as well. So I said, okay, they are doing great, but what are they doing in culture in their country? So I related this to the fika, which is a social Swedish coffee break. So to adapt a bit of culture into the mix. And then to end this, I just brought what I was saying earlier, to brought something you're passionate about, your heart and your soul. So in the fourth page, I've got a little image with the grandmother and the grandchild, because when I thought about the subject, so coffee and chocolate, it remembered when I was a child, I was in my grandparents' house, and in the morning there was like the smell of the coffee, and I was going into the kitchen with my grandmother, and we were talking together. So I was bringing the story I had around this subject. So.
I don't understand. You don't like coffee.
No, I don't like coffee, but it remembers me the smell of the coffee in my grandparents' house. So I can, even if I don't drink coffee, I can relate to the subject. So,
wow, like I'm just so inspired by you all, and I want to just jump back to something that I mentioned earlier, which is that like each of your styles is so unique and very, very different, and also super impactful and incredible. Like it's so neat to hear you talk about what you produced and how you produced it. And I think we've got a lot of people on the line that are like, okay, I'm just beginning. I've just built my very first bar chart and table in Power BI, and you can go from there to this. Like, wow, that is really amazing. Okay, so speaking of going from point A to point B, the next thing that I want to talk about, and this is probably going to be our last question, but I want to talk about top design tips and tricks. And the first thing I'd love to hear about, and I don't know who wants to talk about it, but I'd love to hear about, because we have a question in the chat, how did you ensure that you designed for accessibility? And are there any other, tips or tools that you used? Is there anybody that wants to talk about this piece?
Okay, so I'm going to say something. When it comes to accessibility, there's a lot of things that, it's like you want to take into account. But one of the things that's really important is making sure that the alternative text is, it's like visible. So for the actual World Championships, in the 20 minutes, I was trying to figure out how do I get alternative text onto all of the visuals. And the way that I did it was I had all of the text written out into different measures, and I just plopped those in. And, I can see people nodding, and we were just like, this is the only way that you can actually do it, because otherwise you'll be like spending 20 minutes just typing. But for accessibility, there's like the three main things is, of course, it's like tab order, alternate text, and color contrast. So those are like, I would say, like the three big things. But it's also like one of the reasons why if you use HTML and SVGs, it can be less accessible, because different aspects of, it's like the visual might not be able to have an alt text. You might just have to have one alt text for like the whole SVG, and that can be an issue if you have like a very, very complex something. Okay. But yeah, like that's a lot of the things you want to think about.
Thank you. Love that answer. Accessibility for me is one of my greatest passions in Dataviz. Visualization is in the name. So it is inherently difficult to make data visualization accessible to everyone. And it's actually not that hard using some of the inbuilt tools in Power BI. You do have to try, you have to pay attention to it, but we can make sure that everyone can experience or interact with the data that we have on the screen, even if they're not able to see it. One thing that I want to point out is that our winner of the European World Champs, Paolo, he built a color vision simulator into his final report on stage. I have no idea how he did it in 20 minutes, but he had a drop down, a slicer with all of the different types of color vision deficiencies, and he clicked through them, and it made all the visuals look as though you would see them if you had that type of color vision deficiency. It was wild. I loved it. It was super cool. But accessibility is a real passion of mine, so thank you for asking that question. Okay, let's jump back now. We only have 7 minutes left, but I want everyone to have a chance to give their kind of top tip, top design tip when it comes to designing for Power BI. And we'll just go, whoever wants to go first, jump in. Top design tip.
Oh, I'll take this. One design tip from my side is always keep in mind that less is more. Do not try to stuff in all the information that you have on your reports. Have a very clean, simple layout. And one more quick thing I would like to point out is choose the correct chart type for the correct data. Because last time I saw someone use a funnel chart to show categories, and it didn't make any sense to me. So I think that's what matters most.
Thank you. Who's next? Quick.
I'll go. So I think there's nothing unique or different about designing for data visualization or Power BI than any UI UX designers. There's no secrets that people can reveal to you that you need to find out. All of the key principles, you can Google them. Google 7 essential UI design principles. These are things that UI UX designers, professionals that design websites and products online, pay attention to: hierarchy, progressive disclosure, consistency, contrast, accessibility, proximity, alignment. Each one of those is its own foundational core UI principle that you should familiarize yourself with. And it applies not just to Power BI, not just to Dataviz, but everywhere where anybody designs. And I think a key to doing that in Power BI is obviously going to be using JSON theme files, which is the only way that you can apply consistency to your report and get out of using the color picker and just choosing every single hex code every single time you design a report. You need to create a Power BI JSON theme file that you and your organization can use and apply consistency, apply those UI UX principles to your JSON theme file, and you're going to have professional looking web quality reports that will make any UI UX designer happy. And I strongly suggest you use Power UI, which is the world's best Power BI design system and theme generator. And it makes doing all of those things I just said much easier than anything else on the market. It's unique. Definitely check out PowerUI.com. So those are my tips.
Those are really good tips. And I'm impressed that you have the 7 principles. You can just roll those off your tongue.
Yeah.
That's great. Who's next? Top tips.
All right. I would say, like in Power BI, you have a lot of native tools you can play with. So my main trick will be like to combine all of these elements, maybe for instance, new card visuals, bookmarks, even HTML. If you combine all these things and you think a bit outside of the box, you will make something very, very unique, and you can design a lot of stuff which will be very, very close to what you would see in modern websites. So yeah, don't hesitate.
Excellent. Thank you. And Noor.
Yes, I can go. Maybe I can share something I did for maybe the last two rounds, is using AI like ChatGPT, because it's like you working on public data, so it's okay. What I did is, like, I took screenshot of my report, so I gather all information on requirement, the audience, how your report is supposed to go, and then I asked to give me what's good, what's I need to improve, and give me a grade out of 5. And then if I got like 4.2 out of 5 or above, I would say I'm good. It's good enough. So
That's so smart. I love that. Okay, and last but not least, NJ, what's your top tip?
Okay, look, the main thing is that, okay, so I'm going to quote Mike Carlo, who's in the chat. If the report is not giving value, if it's not making money or saving money, it's not useful. So all reports, even though the design is very important, has to be useful for the end user. If it doesn't do that, if it's like it just looks pretty, that's not good enough. So that's the most important thing. It has to provide value somehow.
Yes, couldn't agree more. And thanks for the shout out to Mike. Mike, thanks for joining us in the chat. All right, so I have so many more questions for you all, but there's not enough time in the world for me to ask them all. So we're going to jump back into the PowerPoint presentation. We're going to wrap up. Before we do, I'd just love for everyone to give a round of applause to our world champs in the chat and let us know what you liked about this session today. Every time I talk to each of you, I learned so much, and I still come away with so much more, and I've been doing this for over a decade. So thanks for your wisdom and for sharing with the community, and I'm just so excited that everyone gets to learn from you. So thank you. Woo, that was awesome. Okay, so now let's jump back into the deck and let's talk a little bit about what's going on here with Fabric Data Days. Remember, we've got contests you can participate in too. And with everything you've learned today, I know you're going to be great because we just learned how to be the best, right? So we've got our Dataviz contest for everyone. We've got our Dataviz contest for students. We have our notebooks contest, and we also have our new Quick Viz challenges. In addition, we've got so much happening this week. We're at the end of this week, of course, but please go back and take a look at some of these sessions if you're interested. Lakshmi hosted an incredible session earlier this week talking about the Student Dataviz Championship. She's also hosting that contest. We have Anur who's serving as a judge for that contest as well. So take a look at what's going on there, and take a look at our live schedule. And finally, we're going to end on this. Is the next Power BI Dataviz World Champion in the audience? Are you here today? I think that you are. So please stay tuned to our contest page, and we cannot wait to see what you all have in store. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much again to our world champs. Thank you to our moderators in the chat. I cannot imagine how fast you were typing. Thank you to my colleague Pam and to our producer Anna. And just thanks so much, everyone. We hope you feel inspired and that you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you
very much.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining, and thanks again to our speakers. This session is a part of a series. To register for future shows and watch past episodes on demand, you can follow the link on the screen or in the chat. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find that link on the screen or in the chat. And we'll see you at the next one.